Hello everyone, once again, you're welcome. In the last few videos, we learned how to merge multiple Excel files into one report, convert that report to PDF, and automatically send it through Outlook using Python. Today, we are going to connect all those scripts into one complete automation workflow. We'll organize our code into functions, run everything from a single Python file, and finally schedule it using Windows Task Scheduler. So the entire process runs automatically every day. So let's get started. So we have these three files which we created in our last video and this raw files folder where we have multiple Excel files. So we will create a new file main.py and we'll use all these three files in main.py and run the entire process rather than running one by one. So let's open VS Code and these are the files we have created. So let me show you. First was combine files. So this script we created to combine the files automatically and combine the multiple files into one file. And we can provide the folder path and it picks all the Excel files from the folder and combine those files into one file. And then we convert that generated file into PDF. And then after creating a PDF, we send that PDF using Python through Outlook. So these are three different steps and today we are going to combine all these steps into one. So let's create another file main.py and we will import rather than pasting code from all three files into this main.py, we will just use these file as it is and use the functions written inside these files. So if you notice, we have not created any function in these files. So first let's create functions. So folder path, we do not need folder path here. I'll let you know in some time why we have removed this folder path. We have put a hash here to make this line as a comment and we will create a function here. So def combine files and we will provide this folder path from main.py. So we have created it as a function and press tab to indent this code. And so this has been created a function now and we will call it in main.py. So to call it from main.py, we need to import this file into main.py. So let's import combine files. So we have imported this function and we can now call this combine file function which is written inside this file. So let's say combine files dot combine files. So if you are getting confused, let me explain why this is like this. So let's comment this line and try to write combine files. So IntelliSense is not showing any suggestions using, I mean, with the name combine because we have not imported any file. If we import combine files py file, then it will show all the functions written inside the combine files .py. So let's change the function name so that you don't get confused. So combine underscore files. Now we will import this file name combine files and inside that file we have written this combine underscore files function. So we will use combine files dot combine underscore files because this is file name and this is the function inside that file. And we will provide folder path here. So let me zoom in. So folder underscore path and we will set the folder path here. So this is our folder path and we will paste it here. So we are pasting the folder path here. So we don't need the folder path in combine files script because we are when we call this function, we will provide this folder path. So we don't need this one. So let's call this function and this function provide one file. I mean, it combines multiple files and generate just one file, and we need to fetch the path of that generated file. So let's create a variable combined file, and it will return the path of that combined file into this variable. But we have not written any path here, so we will return the path. So return output file, because output file will be the final file generated inside this function. So we will return this output file, and this output file will get stored in this variable. So our first function has been called, and it has combined the files and returned the output file name into this file. Now we will convert this combined file to PDF. So let's import another file, import Excel to PDF, and inside Excel to PDF, let's check if we have created any function. No, we have not created any function. So we will create it as a function. So def Excel to PDF. And in this function, we will not provide any folder path. We will just provide one file path, because we just want to convert that combined file to PDF. So we will create a file path here. So we will pass that file, or we can write combined file, which was generated in previous step, which was generated in this line. So we will call this function Excel to PDF dot Excel to PDF, and it's asking for combined file, and this is our combined file. So this will combine the file, and this will return a PDF file. So PDF file. So now we will have to modify this Excel to PDF function slightly, because we have not returned anything. Also, when we have written this code, we were using a folder, but now we have the file. So first give indent here, and we don't want to run this for all the files available, and we don't want to check is it an XLSX or not, because we are already generating an XLSX file in this step, so it will always be an Excel file. So we are not going to check whether the extension is XLSX or not. So Excel file, we are already, there is no need to provide path, and we don't want to create any folder here, so we'll just write the PDF file name. So let's correct the indentation, and we don't need this code. Let's delete this code. We just want to pass a combined file, and there's no folder, because this combined file will return the file name with complete path. So this variable will have the complete path, so we don't need this line. So we will just write os.path split text of this file. So we'll remove the XLSX extension, and we'll add .pdf extension here. And we don't want to print this as well. And workbook will open this combined file and will save as a PDF file. So I think that is it. So we'll close the file and quit the Excel instance, and we will return this generated PDF file. I hope I'm making sense here. And if you have any questions, you can mention in comments, or any steps which is not very clear to you, you can mention in comments. I'll explain that thing again and reply in comments only. So this is also returning a PDF file. Now go back to main.py, and this function returning a PDF file which we are storing in this PDF file variable. Now we just need to send this PDF file through Outlook to an email address. So let's import another file, import email report. Now we can use the functions written inside this email report file. So let's check if we have any function here. So email report, and yes, we have created this function while we were working on this script. So we don't want to make too many changes here. File path we will provide in as a argument. So file path, and to subject body we will leave it as it is, or we can also pass these things in this function if we want, but for now we are only using file path. So file path provide file, let's change it everywhere. And now we don't want to call this function here, we just want to call this function here. So email report dot send email, and what we need to send this PDF file. So I think this is done. So we'll run it and see if it's working. So we can just run it. So in this video, if this code doesn't work, you will also see how to debug a code. So I'm hoping that this code will work perfectly fine. So let's run it and see if it works. So let's run it. Yes, so we have got our first error. So let's debug it step by step. So our error is value error, no objects to concatenate. So there's no object to concatenate because we have provided the folder path where there's no Excel file. No objects to concatenate because we have not provided the correct path. So now we have corrected the path. Let's run it again, clear this error. And this is another error, cannot save file into non-existent directory. Okay, so we have got this error in line number 21 of combine files. So line number 21 of combine files is master df2 Excel output file. Okay, because there is no output folder created, so we need to create this output folder first. This code is creating the output folder within the directory where our main.py file is saved, but we need to create that output folder inside raw files folder. So if we see, there's no output folder here because we have provided just output. We need to add folder path as well, and we can write output folder equals to os.makedir folder path. We can combine this folder path and this output folder. So os.path.join. So now this output folder will be created inside this folder path. So I hope everything is fine now. Output file is inside output folder, then output folder. Okay, so let's try to run it once again. So I'm not removing all the errors and cut the video because I just want to show you how debugging works. So we can run it step by step as well. We can put breakpoint and all, and I'll show you in any other video how debugging works. So let's run main.py again. So it has combined all the files. All files are combined successfully, all converted successfully, and email sent successfully. So first it combined all the files into one file. Then it converted that combined file to PDF file, and then using that PDF file, this code has sent the email successfully. So let's wait few seconds and I'll show you if I receive any file. Okay, so I have received this file, masterfile.pdf, and this is the attachment. And please find attach today's sales report, which we have already mentioned. You can pass to email and subject inside this function only where we are calling this function, send email, but we have hard coded these two and subject, so this is fine for now. You can make changes and try to run the code according to your requirements. So I hope this is making sense, and that is it. So we now have a complete automation pipeline that merges Excel file, convert to PDF, emails through Outlook, and runs automatically. So we can also schedule this script main.py, but I think this video is getting quite lengthy, so I'll show you in any other video. So this script can be run without any manual effort. So if you have been following this series, you've now built a real world office automation project step by step. This is something we do every day in our office. So in the next video, we can automate another common business task to save even more time at work. We can um, use any folder which our script scans. If there is a new file, it will process that file or something like that. So if you found this series helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.